Lewis, Lewis, and they were stomping their chairs, and then the whole jail had to have an entire lockdown. Okay, they locked down the entire jail, made everybody go back to their bunks, not watching TV, nothing. And then again at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, the same three huge bouncer bodybuilder guys came to my solitary jail and said, "We have orders to let you go and release you. You're more trouble in here than you are out there."
Now, how do we let me, you know, again, I in my books I wrote about these states. There's a lot of states' rights and things going around like that. Can we affect this on a federal level? Because we don't control the votes, I don't believe. I mean, as long as you got Diebold counting the votes, and we saw what happened one instance, you know, there were 25 votes added, you know, and the guy hadn't counted the votes.
Well, the only way I can see for this to change this whole thing, petitioning Congress is a waste of time. You can't go to the master and say, "Oh, master, please let us free." Forget it. You can't go there. The only way, we'd have to start a grassroots campaign at the very, very bottom. We'd have to run for and take over all local precinct committee chairperson positions, and we have to make sure that no Muslim, no Jew, no Jehovah's Witness, any other cult, those things aren't religion, okay? You look up the legal definition of a cult, basically that would be any belief system that takes God out of the picture, okay? So we want to make sure that only Christians, and people say, no, that violates the First Amendment. No, the older case law, the jurisprudence says the only religion that's supposed to receive First Amendment protection is Christianity and no other religion. Okay? Jews can't legally hold office anyway. They take an oath called the Kol Nidre that rejects all other oaths. So what good is a judge's oath to uphold the state and federal constitution when he's already taken the Jewish oath that rescinds and rejects and revokes all other oaths? How can he swear to uphold the laws of the state, the laws of the United States, the state constitution, and the U.S. Constitution when he rejects that oath before he even took it? Or he knows at the end of the year he's going to take the Kol Nidre again and renew his oath to the Kol Nidre to reject all other oaths.
Now, we're calling them Jews. Some people, some of my guests call them Edomites. Some of them, you know, the Jesus call them, you know, children of the devil, for God's sakes. But
no, I was gonna tell you who they are.
Okay.
They are the mixed breed Canaanites.
Okay.
Okay. You go to Leviticus 18. This is where, see, we've evolved. We haven't evolved. These people we're finding out the proof now that they have one common blood linkage. The Ashkenazi Jews and Sephardic Jews, the one common link they can trace their roots to, they're not an Israelite. They're not a real Jew. They've traced their lineage, and they're trying to hide and lie about it in their writings and say it's the European white man. No, they are the Neanderthal man. They are the beast of the field. They are the Goyim. Those who call themselves the Jew today in 2012, they're not Jew. They're the fake Jew. When you go read Revelations 2:9 and Revelations 3:9, it says, "Beware those who call themselves the Jew, but who are not the Jew, but who lie and are from the synagogue of Satan." So, who goes to synagogues? Everybody who calls themselves Jews. But here's what Leviticus 18 says. The Israelites ought not to follow the manners of the Egyptians and Canaanites, the marriages that are unlawful. Now, President Obama just allegedly signed the repeals of the sodomy statutes. And now in Washington State, we have one dumb Jew, biatch, who's pretending to be the governor of our state, is saying that she wants to promote same-sex marriages. Okay? And I've come up with a new legal argument that absolutely shows that same-sex marriages are 100% illegal, unconstitutional, and violates the ex post facto clauses of both the state and federal constitutions, because sodomy is still a violation of the common law. And here's what Blackstone's, okay, Sir William Blackstone's commentaries is considered the common law. Blackstone says, it describes the infamous common law crime against nature, quote, as an offense of deeper malignity than rape, a heinous act, the very mention of which is a disgrace to human nature, and a crime not fit to be named. Okay, so anyway, all these, the Ashkenazi Jews and Sephardic Jews, they claim that they've proved their lineage to the ancient Israelites, and I challenged a bunch of Yahoo group people. I said, no, I can prove that those tests are false. And they said, no, you can't. We spent millions of dollars on these tests. I said, I can prove with just my connection to the internet to tell you on your Yahoo group that you're wrong, and I can prove it. And they said, how's that? I said, can we dig up the burial ground of Shem, Isaac, Abraham, Peter, or even Jacob? And they said, no. I said, well, if we can't dig up Shem, Isaac, Abraham, Peter, or even Jacob, we have no gauge for those tests. All those tests that you did exhuming bodies in the Middle East and Europe and whatnot, all you proved is a bunch of Ashkenazi Jews and a bunch of Sephardic Jews are mixed-breed Canaanites. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you who these people are. The sons of Noah going forth on the ark were Shem and Ham and Japheth, and Ham is the father of Canaan. That's Genesis 9:18. These are the three sons of Noah, and one of them was the whole earth overspread, Genesis 9:19. Noah also began to be a husbandman and planted a vineyard, 9:20. And he drank of the wine and was drunken, and was uncovered in the midst of his tent, Genesis 9:21. And when Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, he told his two brothers without, Genesis 9:22. They took Shem and Japheth a garment, and put it both upon their shoulders, and went backwards, and covered nakedness of their father with their faces backwards, so they saw not their father's nakedness, Genesis 9:23. Then Noah awoke from his wine, and knew what his younger son had done unto him, Genesis 9:24. And he said, quote, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren, Genesis 9:25. He said, moreover, blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant, Genesis 9:26. God persuaded Japheth that he may dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant, Genesis 9:27. This is who all those who call themselves the Jews. They are the descendant of Canaan. They are the mixed-breed Canaanites, and they are a cursed people. They are not the chosen people. They are the cursed people.
But they're pretending to be.
They've switched everything around on us. Okay, these people call us the Goyim, and they say the Goyim is like the human dog, the human pig, the human swine. And these crazy Jewish scientists and crazy Jewish doctors, they're the one that invented the polio vaccine and affected the entire human race. And I've got videotapes, YouTube videotapes, where a Jewish doctor, they're complaining that they've been unable to make the swine flu virus catch from human to human. They've been able to make it catch from bird to human, but not from human to human. But we're working on it. And I'm thinking to myself, why are these people really trying to work on it? And the interviewer is asking me, well, because in case this reproduces itself in nature, we have to find a way to stop it, so we're going to do it in advance. And then when you look at the YouTube videos of Jesse Ventura with Plum Island and whatnot, you find out they have more than 1,300 genetic warfare labs strategically placed all over the United States. And I go, oh, that's curious. Why do they have to have this 1,300 different places strategically placed over the United States? And this doctor over here says, we're working on a virus that will catch from human to human, and then lo and behold, check this out, Clayton, you won't believe this, it just came out like a week ago, a Swedish doctor has now invented an airborne version of the avian flu and swine flu virus that will catch from human to human.
They are working to destroy the world. This is what the whole pharmaceutical industry about, the corporate farms, ninth plank on the Communist Manifesto. It's all about starving you. They starve, and I've got White Holocaust up on my site right now. You can find a link to the White Holocaust. Matter of fact, I'll probably be doing a show on it Friday. They killed 10 million. They starved them to death. 10 million people in the breadbasket of Russia, the Ukraine.
Well, Joseph Stalin shot all the doctors, and he's the one that started the campaign about anti-Semitism, started making a big deal about it.
Yeah, there was a capable offense.
Over 40 million Christians, and he was good friends with Adolf Hitler. And then Adolf Hitler they worked together, all the world leaders, including Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who happened to be a Swedish Jew. They created the 6 million Jew Holocaust story as a cover-up, to cover up the genocide of over 40 million Christians. And to make it look good, they killed a few 100,000 of their own Jews. Not 6 million, a few 100,000. But when you look at the facts, the people that they killed that were Jew were the poor white trailer trash Jews. People like you and me that, like what Michael Jackson sang that song, they don't care about us.
That's right.
And so we need to start educating the good Jews, the poor Jews, people like you and me.
I have tried to tell people, look, they hide behind the Jews. They hide behind their Jewishness.
Right.
Yeah, the Rothschild were Jews. Yeah, so what? So was George Bush. So was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. You know, yeah, they were all Jews. But we don't have choice, that much of a choice over where we were born, who we were born, and we got a choice whether we want to be good or evil.
Right. I'm going to tell you back to the thing about the sodomy that I discovered. In 1976, they pretended to repeal the sodomy statute in the RCW in Washington. So I went down to the archives last week. I got a certified copy of the actual pretended repeal of the sodomy statute, and I discovered they didn't legally repeal it, because we have a 1961 case called Perosa versus Tacoma that lays out that when they only amend a mere section of the prima facie compilation called the RCW, it leaves the underlying law unchanged, and the repeal of the statute only repealed the RCW. But I found another case that even makes it better, and this case is called State X-Rail National Bank of Commerce of Seattle versus Frater, 18 Washington 2nd, page 546, and 140 Pacific 2nd, 272, July 19, 1943. It says, quote, "The legislative repeal of a statute which is merely declaratory of the common law, in the absence of a new statute stating some other rule, leaves the common law in effect. In 1 Sutherland Statutory Construction, 3rd edition, page 525, section 2043, the rule is stated as follows. However, a right of common law nature, which is further embedded in the statutory term, exists as an enforceable right exclusive of the statute declaratory of it, and therefore the right is not expunged by the repeal of the statute." Okay, so what we're saying here is they repeal the statute, but see, because the common law exists exclusive of the statute, even when you repeal the statute, the common law is still there. Well, every single state, including Washington, has adopted the common law. And our statute here is RCW 404010. And I'm going to scroll down here real quickly and find that statute. RCW 4010 lays out that, and I'm going to go back to the Territorial Code of 1881 first. The Territorial Code of 1881 says the common law of England, so far it is not repugnant to or inconsistent with the Constitution and the laws of the United States and the Organic Act and the laws of Washington Territory, shall be the rule of decision in all the courts of this territory. Okay, so here's the thing. They can't make it same-sex marriage is legal until they repeal this statute, RCW 404010, which adopts the common law of England, because that other case made it clear that when they repeal the statute, all it does is we fall back on the common law, which exists exclusive of the statute. And I sent you a link that shows in England the common law crime, it lists sodomy as being a common law crime. And therefore, since there's no statute, we have to rely upon the common law. The Buggery Act of 1533, under the common law, the penalty for sodomy is death. It's a common law crime. And see, upon statehood, the territorial law became the law of the state in all 50-something states. And RCW 404010 reads, quote, extent to which common law prevails. The common law so far is not inconsistent with the Constitution and the laws of the United States or the state of Washington, nor incompatible with the institutions and conditions of society in the state, shall be the rule of decision in all the courts of this state. And RCW 9A04060 says common law to supplement statutes. The provisions of the common law relating to the commission of crime and the punishment, therefore, insofar as not inconsistent with the Constitution and statutes of the state, shall supplement all penal statutes of the state, and all persons offending against the same shall be tried in the courts of this state having jurisdiction of defense. So here's the thing, why same-sex marriages are illegal. The case law says the marriage is a contract. The case law says under the common law, in order to consummate a marriage contract, there's two essential elements that have to be completed. Number one, you have to have sex, which right now that's illegal for two men to do. That's a common law crime. The penalty is death. Number two, the second essential element to consummate a marriage is you have to be able to produce a baby, children, offspring. So unless two men, I don't care how hard they're packing their fudge, unless they can produce a baby out of their asshole and produce a butt baby, they've never consummated the marriage. In the case law for consummation of a marriage, I've read the older case law, the common law says if it's found that the woman is barren after the marriage, even though they had sex, which is 50% of the contract to consummate a marriage, the 50% of the way there, they did the Humpty Dumpty. But if the woman's barren, the man has legitimate grounds of the common law to apply for the marriage to be annulled because the woman cannot consummate the marriage and produce a baby. And I've read the opposite. When a man is shooting blanks and the woman wants to have a baby or a family, she has grounds to go and have the marriage annulled on the grounds that the man can't give her a baby. Okay, now the law says when a marriage is annulled, it's the same as though you were never married. In fact, the law says you were not married. In fact, in law, you never were married.
Well, isn't this part of the plan? First of all, they want to break down the family. Second of all, they don't want you having a bunch of white kids, Christian children, do they?
No, because they're trying to basically destroy the Israelites. And what they're doing is they're setting up all these groups, opposing groups: blacks fighting whites, whites fighting blacks, whites fighting Mexicans, Mexicans fighting whites, and all the Asians and other nationalities, minorities. And then the fake Jews going to step back and say, look, it's them, it's the white people, and they're going to get all the nationalities and races to try to, if shit were to ever hit the fan and have a civil war in America, everybody's going to go after and kill all the white people because all the Jews are going to blame the white people. When the truth is, it's those who call themselves the Jews, the elite, the owners of the banks, the owners of all the fast food chains, the people who own Hollywood. Those people, those are the ones. It's kind of
and we're called, the Bible really, to me, the Bible really calls attention to that in the story of the tares and the wheat. We're looking on the city street, and they all look alike. It's so how do we pick out the bad guys here? Now let me give you because this really bothers me because this is something that just happened to you. There's a guy that has distributed my magazine, and I've used some of his stories. I've even written for him, Ernest Hancock up in Phoenix, Freedom Phoenix, and you came on his show. He's doing a lot. He's doing a lot, and weren't you attacked? I've been bringing people and letting people like Alex Jones speak after my accident. No, Alex never had me on the show, never featured me, never did anything to help me. So the whole patriot movement, I'm through with it. I'm through with it, man. I'm going to write science fiction from now on. To hell with these people. John Trockman might have been right. They wouldn't help us. Then we told them what was going to happen. So fuck them, Clay. They're going to get the government they deserve. What about this whole thing with Ernest Hancock and you?
Well, it was weird. I've been on probably at least 10, 12 different talk radio shows, and usually the first time I'm on a show with anybody, most of the radio announcers are very polite and happy to have me. This guy, I don't know if he's Jew or maybe the owners of his station are Jew, but he attacked me from the get-go. He's treating me like, for example, I've long been known as a fraud buster in the Patriot movement. In fact, I've put out a laundry list, an email listing all the scammers, patriots, patriots for profit, legal lunatics and morons who are part of the Patriot movement who are selling you a bunch of garbage that will get you in more trouble than you were to start with. I have a list of names, and that email is called Beware of False Prophets. When I went on this guy's show, he treated me like I was one of the idiots. Okay, and I've been in this movement, at least since he has, the 80s and 90s. I've been in this movement a long time. My name is known out there, along with, there's actually only 3 guys in the whole United States that are known to consistently win cases, and that's Lloyd Smith, Kurt Riggin, and myself, Louis Ewing. Okay, and nobody's pissed off more people in the Patriot movement than me because I've named names of all the gurus who actually are idiots and patriots and patriots for profits and scammers and undercover agents and IRS snoops. And this guy treated me like I was one of those idiots. I've got a proven track record. Before I went on the show, I sent him a laundry list of my testimonials email, which shows numerous people who had successes in real-life traffic stops with my free flyers, numerous court cause numbers of cases with actual court case numbers. You can call the court clerks and verify that people won cases. I've got a consistent track record of winning. And this guy attacked me. Oh, yeah, right. You got the answer and nobody else does. Okay, you can make fun of it and attack me like that all you want, but you know what? I'm going to say, yeah, that's right. I do have the answer. I have the answer for beating just about any kind of a court case. In fact, my free flyers are so damn good, you can hand them to the cop. For example, my stop arrest flyer, which I talked about, I sent it to him. He posted some of my flyers, but he didn't post my stop arrest flyer or my ultimate user flyer. And my stop arrest flyer lays out the arrest without warrant statute in Washington, 1031-100, which has 3 subsections, and subsection 2A, B, and C specifically list every statutory offense for which a police officer has the legal authority to arrest and take you into custody. And my flyer notices is basically targeted towards to prevent people from being arrested for driving while suspended. Well, RCW 462342, the driving while suspended statute, is specifically not listed in 2A, B, or C. And in my flyer, I said a case called State versus Stortring, which is a Washington appellate decision that says it may be deemed to be coincidental, it must be deemed intentional by the legislature. We therefore hold that police officers have no legal authority to arrest and take into custody anybody for driving while suspended. And in the same flyer, I said in the next case, State versus Redding, which is the Washington State Supreme Court, which not only reaffirmed State versus Stortring, but went further and said we can't use the general arrest without warrant statute 1031-100. That's the criminal code. We have to go to Title 46, the motor vehicle code, to the traffic arrest statute 4664-015, which specifically says the police officer may stop you no longer than reasonably necessary than it takes to issue a citation and notice to appear in court. And the court noted that there's no language in this statute that provides any authority for a police officer to arrest and take into custody. They cited a Ninth Circuit decision that also went further and said cops just don't have a legal authority to arrest and take you to jail, take you into custody for driving while suspended. Well, I drafted this flyer 8 years ago. I've been driving while suspended myself since 1996, when I beat my first driving while suspended ticket. 1996, I've been successful. Since then, I've been successfully beating all driving while suspended charges. I've perfected the briefings on that subject to the umpteenth degree, because we're talking about, I don't want to go to jail when I get pulled over for driving while suspended, and I'm tired of paying attorneys to lose. So I spent, basically 7 days a week since 1996. I quit my job, quit everything, and I spend my life studying law and writing legal pleadings. I make my living undercutting attorneys, and all of my flyers I've tried, tested, and perfected myself. I had my home address for these 8 years, until recently when I split with my ex-girlfriend, on my flyer that says I drive with no license, no insurance, no seatbelt, and smoke pot, so can you. I drove by the sheriff's station, the Pierce County Sheriff's Station, every single day. All the cops in Pierce County know who I am. My car's on site. I wave at them. They'd never pull me over. What's the point of pulling me over and giving me a ticket? I'm going to beat it in court. And now I have a new flyer plate. I don't know if I sent it to you yet. The new Right to Travel flyer and the Toll flyer. And I've heard lately a bunch of patriots up in the northern part of Washington, Sonoma County area, have been driving around with my flyers, and they've held huge judicial conferences to figure out what to do about my flyers, and the consensus is that my flyers were absolutely correct, and the cops can't do anything about these people driving without a license, and they're all pissed off about it.
I will link any of your flyers that you want. If we don't all work together, and as I recall, Ernest Hancock rejected one of my articles because I was talking about the Jews. So that could have been part of it. Now let me ask you something. One of the answers that I came up with in my studies and in doing this for 20 some odd years was the concept of liberty villages. And as Richard Kelly Hoskins used to say, the foundation of every civilization is a self-sufficient family farm. That's who they went after in the Ukraine. They killed 10 million Ukrainian farmers. and they're going after the farmers here. They did it with the alcohol. They do it with the pot, with the hemp, and if we grow our own food and generate our own energy from the sun, from the wind, from the technology that we have today, and we link all of these little farms and ranches, and we staff them, and the ranchers have told me they've got problems getting help. So if we make them into a little village, kind of, and you grow your own food and generate your own electricity, what do you need the government for? What do you need the banks for? You can self-finance, you can self-generate, and yeah, and you can eat good food. And people will tell me, oh, well, they won't allow this here, they won't allow this here, the statutes here, the statutes here. Is this idea of a, I mean, and it could be done in any town, any block, neighborhood, any place. If you all get together and agree on a plan to do this, could people like you and the information that you're put up, could well, the neighborhood association wouldn't let you put a garden in your backyard?
Well, you know what? These people should, instead of hiring attorneys, they should hire somebody like me. I'll tell you something that I've recently been stopping for my neighbor, for example. He was building a shed and whatnot, and the Grace Harbor County Department of Public Services came out and put a stop work order. They threatened him with several $1,000s in fines. They're threatening him criminally with jail time. They told him he had to get a demolition permit to tear down his shed, but he had to pay for the demolition first and apply for a permit. And I told him, don't apply for none of that. Don't apply for none of that. They have no jurisdiction. This is what most people don't know. I mean, when somebody shows up with a uniform and a badge, and they says, I'm from the Department of Construction and Land Use, I'm the building code inspector, blah 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 blah. Okay, sorry, but they have no jurisdiction. And basically what these counties and cities are doing is they're adopting the 2009 International Building Code. Well, for example, our state here in Washington, 19 RCW, it's entitled Miscellaneous Business Regulations. And so basically I'm doing research and I'm drafting motions showing that Title 19 RCW Business and business miscellaneous business regulations only applies to Title 18 licensed contractors. A state licensed corporation, a builder who's in the business of building homes, building residential apartments, hotels, motels, fraternity houses, something transient in nature, but he's conducting business in the state or within the state. These business regulation statutes adopting the International Building Code of 2009 only apply to the state licensed contractor, state licensed corporation, or the state licensed builder who's in the business doing business in the state. I'm repeating myself, going around circles.
But, well, you know, my opinion right here is to hell with that. I want to live like the Indians did. I want to restore their culture. I want to live in teepees. Why should we have to pay for a house 3 times over 30 years? Why should we have to pay $300,000 for a $100,000 home that's worth $10,000?
Well,
hang on a minute. Let me do this. This is Truth Radio signing off here from Truth Radio.
About Truth Radio.
Well, that's part of the 7 Jewish Noahide laws, to have 700 slaves for every Jew.
All right. Well, we're going to end it on that one. I'm gonna talk to you some more. I'm gonna bring you back next week, because I think that we've got the answer here. If we can protect ourselves legally from the whole neighborhood association, you know, they tried to do that in Bingham. They came out to Bingham and they said, we're going to zone this, and we need to put a meter on your well. And I said, what are you trying to do? Get somebody killed?